What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to one of the first Dynasty Warriors Origin videos I can actually put out for you guys with no restrictions. And this time we're going to be talking about a comprehensive guide on the tips I think you guys would need as newer players jumping in. We're going to jump straight into the tips here. Hope you guys find this video useful. If you do, definitely appreciate a like or subscribe. And if you are looking for a specific tip in general, look on the bottom. You'll see the timestamps for every individual tip and you can just go to the one that you need and hopefully it helps you. The first tip I want to go over, and if this is the only tip you watch from this video, I hope you do. This is the one thing I hope every player sees because I don't want this to happen to you. At least for the Steam PC version of Dynasty Warriors Origins, and I would do it for the consoles as well, please make multiple saves of your playthrough, at least 3 or 4, because unfortunately for me, during my early access, I was playing through the story. I had 99% complete. When I made this video, I had the 85 hours and all that, and then I went to go back into play one day and it corrupted, and when I clicked on the file to load it, it said file is corrupted. The message popped up, I clicked OK, and then the save file disappeared. I have a video recording of the aftermath because I was so shocked about what just happened. And I don't know if I have the screenshots of me trying to recover it in the Steam, like the cloud. And I lost all my progress and had to start all the way over. If you do run into the problem where it does corrupt, go to your Steam save files, the autosave on Steam, and download the DAT file that is correlated to your playthrough. So if you had yours, because I had mine in number 6, you'll see a file name and it'll end with 006.dat. That's the file you want to download and put it into the folder where your DAT files are. If you guys are having trouble with that, I will make a separate video on that because I don't want this video to be too long. And coming up next, we have, you're going to want to set up your options. And this is just for me personally, it makes it much easier to deal with. Auto using your meat buns and the lock-on feature. Having both of those set to on, I think brings a small quality of life, because when I had it off, I had to go into battle and I had to click to lock on to people, or if I went over a meat bun and my health was missing a certain chunk, it would not pick it up. I would have to press up on the D-pad in order to use my meat bun. So just doing those two things right out the gate probably will help a lot of you guys with the quality of life thing. If it's not already set to on, I would set both of those to on. Jumping into the map. So the map for the in-game battle and the different icons of what they mean. The dark blue and the dark red on the dots on the map represent enemies or allies that have a boost to their courage or morale, making them a bit stronger than people who are of a lighter color. Other things on the map you want to look out for is next to the dark circle, you'll see like the little triangle up thing. The stronger an enemy is, the more of those they will have. So if they have 1, they are a level 1 kind of character, versus if they have 3, or if they have where it's constantly glowing, they quote unquote would have infinite courage or morale that would be hard to break. And then some other small things on the map to look out for. You have the teardrop icon thing, which represents a character in that area for your team has less than half health or is in the yellow, and if you go by them you can heal them. And then some enemy characters will have these white swords over top of their icon, which means that they are available to duel, which you will see after the Battle of Shui, since Huashong is the first character that you duel in the game. And then some other little map icons for those that need it. The door symbols look like this little black square with a little bit of a white line in the middle. You have your ladder placements, which is the black and yellow type of look. And then you have these arrows pointing to different points on the map. Those represent higher ground places where you can do, you can jump off of it. Obviously, you can do volleys for easy dramatic successes with those. And that's pretty much the basic for the in-game map. Now coming out into the open world map. First of all, if you are interested in maxing out any bond with any character, there's 2 ways to check it. On the mini map, if you see the hand, the shaking of 2 hands, that means there is a character nearby that has a bond event that you can activate if you go and talk to them. If you are not close enough to them, you can open up the whole map. You can toggle your information and then swap over to the characters column and see how many characters on the map are waiting for you to approach them and talk to them to increase your bond with them. And then the only other thing I want to mention out here is the Skirmishes around the map aren't necessarily worth it. Maybe towards the end game when you're trying to maximize the peace in a certain region. But other than that, skirmishes, in my opinion, weren't very useful at all. Now moving into equipment and your skills, starting off with the skills. When you're first starting out, pick up as much as you can. I would definitely agree doing that. But there are some things that are in the skill tree that you can go back and get later. So what I'm going to do is put up a screenshot of each of the tiers for the skill tree, and I'm going to circle with a green circle the ones that I rush towards. Some of these skills while you're playing, especially on like hero, you want to leave behind in order to save up for the more important ones. I'll have a screenshot of each individual tier and rank that comes through all the way up to true warrior, and I will circle the ones that I rush towards. And I would recommend, if you're playing on the hardest level or just in general, I would recommend pushing towards these as fast as possible. When you unlock a new rank, start strategizing for the ones that are circled, because these are the ones that are going to help you the most. The meat bum recoveries, the braveries, the horse accumulations, Musou stuff, anything like that that will make your playthrough a little bit more smoother as you get closer to maxing out the character is what I would grab first. And if you have to choose any stats, I would always choose the attack boost and then the defense boost and then the health. Now moving into the equipment for best weapon style, I mean honestly it can be any weapon that you like. I'll make a different video on that and how I personally feel about them, but any weapon you like, go with what you like. The gems, for me personally, the best gem, especially if you're going to play on hard, is the health gem, because it's very easy to rack up 100 enemies and to get some health back almost on a subconscious level. Everything else, all the other gems are okay. They're not that great, and only in specific cases will I use a different gem, like the Ascendance gem in fighting Lu Bu, because healing is not really an option for that battle. So that is the very rare times that the health gem becomes obsolete. But for the majority, like 99% of the time, I would recommend pushing health. And then for the accessories that increase, I think the attack and defensive boosts are your best option. And it only changed for me when I was again fighting Lu Bu and I went straight defense, because I knew no matter what kind of attack I had, it would take a while to get through Lu Bu. So attack was becoming really obsolete when I fought against him. But for the most part, I run attack and defensive accessories. I have the health gem, and then on the bottom I got my meat bun, 2 bravery boosts because I want to push my strongest battle art for the hard sections, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And then I have an attack boost that you can pair with the bravery boost to do some pretty wild damage. And then finally, with the battle art selection, you guys can select whatever you want. I think it's best to have the palm strike or a really low special battle art, so that you can always, or you should almost always, have access to breaking the unblockable attack. So when they glow orange, when the soldiers glow orange, and it's just really cheap to use and to have in order to stagger an enemy that's doing an unblockable attack. So I'd recommend at least having that. And then for true warrior difficulty, I'd recommend having one very heavy or very expensive battle art. With the bravery items that I like to bring in certain areas, especially with the commanders, I like to pop those and then use the heavier battle arts in order to do lots and lots of damage. Unfortunately, the only weapon that you really don't have this option with is the lance. The lance doesn't have really a good battle art. It has a decent one, nowhere near as strong as the other ones. Every other weapon has a very heavy battle art that you can use to do tons of damage. And then last thing with the equipment I want to talk about is the tactics, and you can use whatever tactics that you want, but for me the ones that I run is the flaming volley one, the charge, and the, I believe it's called the encourage, where the encourage is probably the strongest one, because no matter where you are, it will always have a dramatic success. So as long as you have someone around you and you see that little blue line that's connecting you to that person, you will always hit them with a dramatic success. Taking their morale down a peg for 20-30 seconds, that will give you plenty of time to do tons of damage to those strong characters who just seem impossible to take down. Those are the tactics that I run through True Warrior, and I'm not saying that the other ones aren't bad, but I think they have a good mix of cooldown and effectiveness that I like in those, and that's why I use those 3. Now moving into the weapon tips, I believe Reforging becomes available after your first playthrough. I think when you get to the end game, I don't remember, but it happens at some point. And when you have the ability to reforge your weapons, this is what I would do. First of all, don't reforge anything that is not a grade 7 or rank 7 weapon. It just will be a waste of traits and money and power and all that stuff. So only save your reforging for grade 7. Now for the grade 7 weapons, only reforge the ones that have 6 slots. There's no way to increase the number of slots that a weapon has, so wait until your grade 7 weapon has 6 slots so you can maximize the traits that you put on your weapon. Once you have 6 slots, I would recommend 3, maybe 4. The first one is the extending the input window for parries. Now for me, I rely on the parries a lot. At least for me, there's only so many evades that you can do in hordes that end up getting you slopped up. So for me, extending the input window for parries is the first thing that I always look for when reforging my weapon. Second thing I look for is the boosting attack by 30% for a limited time when you successfully perform a perfect evade. Getting a perfect evade in this game is pretty easy. It's much easier to do than the parry. Like, you don't even need the trait that helps you to get perfect evades easier. It is very easy to trigger a perfect evade. Getting that 30% attack boost for a limited time is pretty helpful when you are trying to gun someone down after you've dodged them. The third thing that I'd recommend, and this is mainly for Ultimate Warrior difficulty, this is for my Ultimate Warrior people or the hero people, when you get to these levels, they will remove the officers dropping meat buns. So I would put on granting a very small chance of obtaining a meat bun from a defeated enemy. Just in case you get a little lucky or you are running low on meat buns, you're far away from a base, or you've taken all the meat buns in a base and they drop a couple on the battlefield while you're fighting, will be a lifesaver in some of those really heavy moments. And then the fourth and fifth one that I would recommend, you don't have to, but these are the ones that I'm always looking for, is the silver, increasing the amount of bravery when you perform a perfect evade, because again, it's so easy to get a perfect evade. It's not difficult at all. So if you can increase the amount of bravery to get you closer to your heavy battle arts without having to use the items that I mentioned earlier, that is a win-win. And then the last one I have, the only gold one for me that is really, really good. The Wushu one is good too. I think that's not a bad one. It does more damage to the Fortitude. But the small amount of bravery upon defeating an officer is probably the best gold one. Because again, what are we trying to do? Maximize the bravery in order to hit our heavy battle arts as much as we can, or to store them for emergency situations. True Musou Ultimate. There are some characters in the game like Gan Ning, he activates like 10 of them while you fight him. So boosting your bravery is always nice. And again, I think the gold Wushu trait is also a really good one to have as your 6th, or you can replace one of the other ones that you don't like. But those first 3 I would highly recommend for the harder difficulties. Alright, let's talk about ranking up in the game. It's when you level up your weapons, that's how you rank up. So you have a maximum of 10 weapon styles to use, and every time I got a new one, I would just focus on using that one until it was up to the same level as the other ones. So always rank up the weapons that are the lowest, and then try to keep all your weapons around the same level, and you'll find yourself ranking up very easy, much faster than if you're just using one weapon. And then also a little thing with that as well, whoever you select for your companion also ranks up the proficiency for that same weapon. So if you have Guojia, you'll be ranking up the sword when you play or switch over to him. Now, finishing up the video with gameplay tips. We got a lot to go through here, but starting off with keeping multiple enemies in front of you and using the downed rush attack to do collateral damage. So when you have an enemy that is downed and you're fighting against multiple enemies, obviously some of them will be down, some of them won't. You can always time or put yourself in an angle where when you start hitting the downed character, the AoE effect of that movement also hits the players behind them. It's just an extra damage thing that you can potentially do. Always look for collateral damage. That's what I would say. Always look for collateral damage. Next tip, allies don't need to be clean saved, which means, so Battle of Sichuan is probably what I'm going to use for an example here, because the challenge for that is to save your ally or have 13 by the end. And you don't need to clean save everybody. You don't need to go in and completely kill the officers that they're fighting. You know, get them down to a decent low health, and then you can just leave. Don't worry about finishing off the characters. Don't feel like you have to kill every character that's around your allies. You can leave them there, for the most part, by themselves to at least survive a little longer so you can go help somebody else. If you watch the True Warrior guide for Sichuan, you'll see me talk about it there in a more extensive detail. But yeah, you don't need to clean save your allies. Don't feel like you need to sit there and you have to get the kill every time. Characters who are glowing on the ground and in the air can be stopped pretty easily. So some of them have this like little charge up where the circle like starts to expand out from them, and they have this like little like bubble shield in front of them. As long as you hit them with any battle art, they will stop it if they're on the ground. If they jump up in the air and they do that, all you have to do is jump up and hit them normally and they will fall down, right? If you can do those things before they launch, I think it's their version of a charge attack, you'll be fine. Just hit them with the battle art, hit them in the air, jump up, hit them, all that good stuff. Watching their fortitude bar is extremely important for your gameplay. So this and the assault thing when they're on the ground is two things that I think people can miss very easily. Now the game does explain it, but the chances of missing it is pretty high. So their fortitude, which is the shields above their head, when the bar surrounding the shields turns white and it becomes enlarged, that means the character is vulnerable. Most characters are vulnerable after they do a battle art or an attack. Just watch the fortitude bar, because when you are attacking them in their vulnerable state, they obviously will recover at some point, and when they do, you will know by when the shield shrink and the white glowing effect around it goes away, and then you can dodge away. You can preemptively get ready to parry, you know, watch their movement, watch their arms, what weapon are they using. Going back to the downed enemy, you'll know that their health is low enough when the assault word is surrounded by a yellow glow. So if it's not surrounded by a yellow glow, it's just more of a dark, like black glow. That means that if you initiate the assault, you will just do the little rush attack thing. But if you do enough damage while they're on the ground before you assault them, you could potentially get their health low enough to execute them. But if you see an enemy down and the word assault is surrounded by a yellow glow, that means you can execute them right away. And then just kind of like a small piggyback off of that, when they are down, try to do some damage to them. You know, hit them with a battle art, hit them with a full normal string combo, get some extra damage in there, wait until they start to get up a little bit. As soon as they start to get up, then hit them with the assault to do as much damage as possible. And then for the next tip, this is for True Warrior only, because it only activates on True Warrior difficulty. Be aware of the commander's true ultimate Musou. Every commander will use one. Anyone that has that helmet over their head or the helmet icon will be using a true Musou at some point during your fight. So save your heavy battle arts or your bravery items, your strong attacks, your Musous, to try and take them down as fast as possible, especially if you are in an enclosed area, because you will take some damage. Not saying you're going to die. You should be, for the most part, fine. You shouldn't die from that, but it will do a lot of damage to you. It'll really damage your allies as well. So if you're trying to keep a certain character above a certain health percentage, or you're trying to do a certain challenge, that could really detriment your results if you allow them to get their true Musou off. When their health bar goes away, they start doing like a stance animation. That means they're charging it up. The circle's above their head. As soon as you see the fortitude bar pop up, hit them with your heavy battle arts, your extreme Musous, your ultimate, everything. Hit them as hard as you can. And if you can't get them down, or they're being too flimsy, or they're getting, you know, too evasive, and, you know, obviously the circle's about to close, get away as fast as possible. Try to clear the true Musou if you can. If not, take the blow, heal back up, and you should be able to rush back in with no problem. And then just piggybacking off of that, talking about utilizing your character swap and your ultimate Musou, use it to the most efficient way possible. When you are in your true Musou mode, you have unlimited bravery. So you can use, I think, 2 or 3, because instead of it draining your bravery, it drains your Musou gauge. So if you're using a character, it just drains the time that you're using that character. If you're using the MC, it just drains the time that you're in the War God Rage mode thing. When you are using your true Musou as the character swap, and you're using a companion, there is a time before they go into their true Musou stance, like automatically, that you can spam some of their stronger battle arts. There's a reason that if you watch my guides, I use Guan Yu or Zhao Yun over Zhang Fei. Zhang Fei doesn't have any good battle arts. I'd rather use him. The reason I use Guo Jia or Xiahou Dun over Zheng Liang, because I think their battle arts are a little bit better, a little bit stronger. Same thing with Sun Shangzhang on the Wu side. Her flaming stuff is that is a strong, absolutely strong battle art, and I'll be doing a separate video on ranking which battle art is the best. With that being said, guys, that's all I have for the video today. It was a little longer than I thought, but I want to cover as much as I could think of for anyone that is jumping into Dynasty Warriors Origins. I hope you guys enjoyed the game. Hope you guys have a lot of fun with it, and hopefully these tips help you get through the hard parts of the game and saves you a little bit of a headache, because when I was playing through it by myself before anybody else, there was no guides, no nothing. I had to figure out all this by myself, and these are the conclusions that I came to, and I hope it helps all of you. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for the video here. Hope you all enjoyed it. If you found it helpful, definitely appreciate a like, a subscribe. If you guys have any questions about the game, anything of that nature, I've played the game front and back. I know everything about it. Just let me know down below. But that's all I have, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching, everyone.